Hey guys, in this video, we're going to go through the 5 biggest mistakes sports bettors are making and how you can avoid them so you can increase your profits on betting. Number 1 is research. So every single bet that you put on, you want to make sure you're not just randomly putting that bet on for fun or because you just have this random intuition that's going to happen. Like obviously that can work out sometimes, the results can go your way sometimes. But over the long term, if you want to consistently make profits every year for the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years, then you can't just rely on your intuition. You need to have information that backs up that decision making because every single year the sports are evolving, things are changing, rules are changing, teams are constantly changing with their players. So by using information and then properly researching every single bet that you put on, then you can go through and be like, okay, this is what's working for me. This is what I know I need to look for. And you'll find you're consistently winning more bets and profiting more because of the process that you're going through of the bets that you're putting on. You've probably seen in a lot of the videos that I've previously put out that when I'm sharing what bets that I'm putting on, I'm showing like why I'm putting that bet on. What are the statistics? What is, the analysis of these teams telling me and comparing that to the betting odds available, the lines, the totals available, and how all that matches up to decide, okay, this is a good bet in this game based on these factors. If you're able to do that, then it's going to go a long way towards you winning a high enough percentage of bets in order to be profitable. Number 2 is staking. So how much you're putting on each bet that you're placing. A lot of people bet the amount just depending on, most of the time, 2 things. Depending on, number 1, they base what they're going to put on a certain bet on how much they have in their betting account. So for example, if they have like $45 in their betting account, but they normally bet $50, they'll just put $45 on that play. Or for example, if they have a lot of money in their betting account, they've had a few good wins recently, there's, $5,000 in their account, they may suddenly increase their bet to $300 or $500, even though they normally only bet $100 just because, the account's loaded up, or they're putting a certain amount on just based on their confidence level on that bet, which is okay in one kind of way of looking at it. However, right now I want to give you the strategy for your staking that you're going to be able to stick to and it's going to help you the most. So firstly, you want to set yourself a betting bankroll. So this is an amount of money that you're going to use to bet with that isn't money that you need for any living expenses whatsoever. It's kind of like money you can put down and not need to touch at all. So set yourself a betting bankroll. It doesn't matter what that amount is to start with, because if you're following the strategies and things I talk about in the other videos, then you're going to grow this amount over time and then start withdrawing profits from it. But just set yourself a betting bankroll to begin with. Then I want you to divide that amount by 100. So say it was $5,000. $5,000 is your betting bankroll divided by 100. That gives you $50. That means 1 unit for you is going to be equal to $50 because you always want to bet from a betting bankroll of 100 units. So 50 times 100 is your 5,000. So $50 units. From there, when it comes to your staking, pretty much all the time, you either want to be betting 1 or 2 units on plays or in between that amount. So pretty much all my bets, how I kind of stake it, sports bets, I bet 2 units on for AFL, NRL, and American football. And then sports that are played daily, like your NBA, NHL, baseball, I bet 1.5 units on those plays just because there's a little bit more variance because there's games every single day. And there's more plays on those sports because there's a lot more games being played. Like, for example, in the AFL, there's 9 games every single week, but in the baseball, there's 10 to 15 games every single day. And then with horse racing, I'm always betting 1, 1.5, or 2 units, depending on my confidence levels and how much value I see in that specific horse. And very rarely do I ever go over 2% or 2 units. I do recommend for a few people that I've spoken to that, if you are working with a smaller bankroll, you can slightly increase that up to 3 units. But no matter how confident you are on a single bet, never bet over 3 units because, as we'll get to in a second, anything can happen in a game or in a horse race. So you don't want to be, risking high amounts or exposing yourself on one particular play that's going to dramatically impact your total betting bankroll. Number 3 is betting for value. And a lot of people overcomplicate this. I'm going to simplify it for you right now. Betting for value simply means getting better odds than you think that selection should be. So, for example, if you're looking at an NRL game and you're confident Penrith are going to win this game, and in your head, after your research, you have them priced at around $1.30, and then you look at the betting companies and they have them priced at $1.20, then there's no real value in that selection. But that is the advanced way of doing it. The simplified way of doing it is just always making sure after you've completed your research that you're getting the best possible odds for a selection. So if you shop around the different betting companies, there's always discrepancies. Some companies have certain teams at higher odds, some companies have them at lower odds. You always want to get the most odds possible for your selection, so therefore you're going to get the biggest return on your stake. There's no point in risking more money on the same selection just for convenience from a single company. A lot of people, they just have money in, say, Sportsbet, and they put all their bets on with Sportsbet, even though a lot of the time Sportsbet don't have the best odds. So they, look at their account, they're like, damn, I'm losing. Like, I need to do something differently to start winning. And the first and simplest thing you can do is spread your money out across different betting companies. And then you're going to be able to spread your money out across different betting companies. So then when you go in and you're like, okay, yeah, I want to back the Sharks in this game, -5.5, which company is giving me the best odds for the -5.5? Or can I even get a -4.5 or -3.5? Is there enough discrepancy here in this situation? Same goes with totals. Totals are ones where there's a lot of discrepancy, sometimes between different companies. There could be 1, 2, 3 points difference, depending when you're looking. So you can get a much lower line or a much higher line if you're playing the unders. And then on player prop markets, this is one where there's always discrepancy in the odds. It's pretty rare to ever see two companies with the exact same odds for the same player for the same number. There's always going to be a few cents difference. And you might look at it and think, okay, well, it's just a few cents. I'm taking $1.89 instead of $1.91. What's the big deal? It's only 2 cents for every dollar. But if you're doing that every single time and you're getting the better odds every single time, you can win the exact same number of bets and you're going to end up with more profit or more money at the end of the day. So this is definitely something that's so important. If you actually want to make money, definitely set up accounts with multiple different betting companies. Make sure you use the sign-up guide that's in with the Bet Finders and the Racing Show. So then you're able to get the sign-up bonuses and deposit bonuses and kind of see where each company's what they're good at, what they're bad at, and how you can take advantage of each one. Number 4 is overreacting. So there's 2 parts to this. Number 1 is overreacting to a team performance. The public and media especially love to overreact to team performances. You will notice this all the time, and you probably noticed it just over the past few weeks or so, is every single week pretty much in sports, there's a new favorite of who's going to win the premiership. As soon as a team puts in a big performance, they're suddenly favorite to win the premiership, even though, they might have won by 80 points against one of the lower sides. They just, looked really good. They put up tons of points. They looked unstoppable. And now suddenly everyone's jumping on their bandwagon. And then 2 weeks later, they get hammered by another team that's a contender. And suddenly, they're no chance, probably won't make top 4, and the whole narrative has swung around. And in the AFL, basically every week there's a new premiership favorite so far this season. So kind of gets a little bit crazy, but in the media, but as a sports bettor, you don't want to overreact to that. You don't want to get caught up in that hype and the drama, of, oh, this team sucks because they lost last week, or, this team's now the best side because they had a big win. You want to not just look at last week, but look at the week prior to that, and the week prior to that. What I do is I use the last 5 games of a team as my main factor and then weigh that up against them overall on the season, and not just, overreact, because the betting companies are going to set lines based on what they're thinking the public is going to do. So, if a team's coming off a really big performance last week, especially one that was hyped up in the media, if it wasn't as hyped up, then it's not as big of a deal. But if it was hyped up, then the betting companies know, all right, we'll shorten the odds on that side a little bit this week because we know the majority of people are just going to back them anyway. And the same goes with player props. Players coming off really big performances where they've dramatically exceeded their averages doesn't mean they're going to do that the following week and the week after that. You need to weigh it up against them overall. So definitely just with your bets, don't overreact to what happened in the last game and don't get caught up in the hype of the media. And number 5 is handling your emotions. So this is For the past few years, when I've been coaching people with betting to help improve, this is where I see the biggest downfall, and it's the main thing that holds a lot of people back. Like, people can get dialed in with their research. They can start following proper research practices, use the bet finders for sports, learn the strategies for horse racing, and go through and analyze and make sure they're putting good bets on. They can make sure that their staking is right, that they're using proper bankroll management, and they're good there. They're tracking their bets, they're seeing their results, they're not getting caught up in the hype, and with all the bets they're putting on, they're being price sensitive. They're always shopping around for the best odds for their selections. But all of that can only get them so far if their mindset and their ability to handle their emotions, and I call it their emotional regulation, if that goes downhill, then everything else is going to crumble with it. Because this is where like the betting companies just love to capitalize on people's emotions. They want you making fast, quick decisions. They want you getting caught up in, that bet loss, quickly put another bet on, increase your stakes because you need to get back that loss from that previous game. And, this whole aspect of chasing and getting caught up in the emotions. And I've been doing this for over 10 years now, well over 10 years now. The thing you're going to learn, no matter whether you're at the beginning or if you've been doing this a while, you're going to know that this happens, is you're always going to have bets lose. That's just part of the game. Bets are going to lose, and accepting that fact is the first step. You're not going to win every single bet. And importantly, when I say you're not going to win every single bet, when it comes to sports, if you're betting on, $1.90 lines, if you're winning 55 out of every 100 bets, you're going to be profitable level staking. So that's accepting the fact that 45 out of every 100 bets are going to lose, and you're going to be profitable in the first place. So that's the first part of the good news. When it comes to these bets losing, is how you handle those bets losing. And, you're going to have bets lose where you need a player to get 30 points and they finish on 29. You're going to need a player to get 30 points and they're on 29, and they're going to sit out the last quarter of an NBA game and not come back on because their team's already too far up. So you're going to lose the bet that was guaranteed to cash at 3/4 time. In the AFL, you're going to have players, where you need 20 disposals. They're going to be on 18 or 19 and get injured and get subbed out for the rest of the game. And, betting companies like to run promos where they, give you a bonus back and stuff like that. But those kind of things are going to happen. You're going to have games where you need over a certain number of points, and the first half, they're just crushing it, kicking goals left, right, and center. And then the scoring dramatically dries up and no one can score in the second half and the game goes under. Like, all those things are going to happen. You're going to need teams to win by 10 points and they're going to win by 9. I don't know how many more examples I can give you guys, but all those things are going to happen. Like, the things that you feel like, oh, that's impossible, that's never going to happen, are going to happen. So, I've had horses in horse racing where jockey doesn't pull the whip and then they just miss in the photo finish and jockey thought they were going to get there. There's like so many things that can happen. You've got a horse drawn in barrier number 3, and on paper, it looks like they're going to get the perfect run, and then they get caught out 3 wide and run second from what would have been a perfect barrier, and they only lose by a short head. Those things are going to happen, but can't become an emotional wreck when that happens. You just have to go back. And I say to a lot of people, you just have to treat it like a business. Just accept that thing has happened. Stay in control of what you're doing. Follow the same practices. Like, even if you have a day where, all your bets lose, that's okay. If you follow the right staking strategy and bankroll management, all your bets can lose in a single day, and you just follow the exact same process tomorrow. Obviously, you want to learn from that, and that's a really important part of bets losing, is learning as to, why did this bet lose? What happened? What did I miss something? Was there a play out? Did someone get injured? What happened that caused the bet to lose? But then not dwelling on it, not, beating yourself up, thinking you got to change everything. Just go back to the same processes, and you're going to get the results at the end of the day. So definitely make sure you're not making these 5 mistakes. Hopefully this helped give you some insight of some things that you can do to help level up your betting. If you like videos like this, make sure you hit subscribe, turn on notifications so you don't miss any videos in the future.